Okay, so usually I'm taking over the introductions. I'm snapping questions at my guest. By the way, welcome to Angira's Baat-Room. This is another episode, Superhits 93.5 Red FM pe with me, RJ Angira. Now, I'm, however, very nervous and excited today because I have with me Karsh Kale, who's joining me in my bathroom. Hello, Karsh. How are you doing today?
Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
It's lovely to hear from you. How's the pandemic been for you? You want to just quickly start off with it?
Wow, that's a big question. It's been quite an incredible year. I was first. I had flown out to New York for some shows in the United States back in March of 2020, and then of course one by one all the shows got canceled, I stayed in New York for 6 months. I was supposed to come back to India in February, and then didn't come back till August. So basically, I spent half the pandemic in Brooklyn and the other half in Goa.
Okay, so we're going to actually come back to that sometime later during the show and ask you what really went through in terms of your creativity, you being an artist and music and all of that. But here's one of the things that I'm going to start off with. Let me quickly introduce you. Visionary composer and a producer, music producer, of course. You play the tabla amongst other instruments. And well, in my words, this whole pandemic phase that I'd call it, it's taking me back to my childhood, where I remember I'm Bengali, right? So Bengalis have a lot of art in their house. It's flowing all over. So my brother learned the tabla, where my sister and I were made to sing. Can you imagine my voice singing? Anyway, so I would sneak up and
Sure,
look at.
you sing very well.
We'll try that someday. But okay, I would sneak up on him and check the tabla. He would play the tabla, right? So I've always been very intrigued with that instrument. So you play a bunch of instruments, and you've played with who's who. Like when I saw the list, I'm like, wow. That's why I think I was a little nervous. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how this all started for you?
Well, I mean, tabla especially was something that was introduced to me by my father. He's a doctor, but he's a musician, and he sings, he plays harmonium, he plays a little tabla. Growing up, I was always into drums and listening to a lot of rock music and a lot of heavy metal music and a lot of jazz fusion. And my father just saw that I had an inclination towards rhythm. So he started playing a lot of Indian classical music for me, and a lot of folk music and film music. And I was interested, but it didn't really seem like the thing that I was. And my thing was drums until he took me to see Zakir Hussain in concert, and that was kind of the day that I got hooked to not just tabla, not just tabla as in what people were doing with tabla, but more so, I was fascinated with the possibilities of what could happen with the tabla.
But the question back to you, most of the listeners and viewers on the show today would relate to Gully Boy. That's a movie that got people going, and you've a plethora of awards. Give us a little bit about how that experience went for you.
That was fantastic. I mean, I was very happy. I knew even before the film was shot, I had met Zoya, the director, to talk about the film, and she had given me the script. And upon reading the script, I knew this was going to be a big film. I knew that it was going to be a bit of a little bit of a cultural revolution, a time period that we're going to look back on and remember that there was the time before Gully Boy and the time after Gully Boy. I had seen the hip hop culture scene growing in India because I was playing a lot of the festivals, and I was seeing a lot of these new hip hop acts coming up and seeing how quickly they were gaining audiences. This is street music, and music from the streets always kind of finds its own way. So to have a film like Gully Boy kind of shed light on this scene, I think just opened up all of those kind of miniature scenes that were happening all over the country, and it reached out all over the world as well. I mean, I know that I have a lot of colleagues and family in the States and in other parts of the world that all watched Gully Boy, and all walks, all ages as well, from the youngest age groups to my parents. You know, my dad was, was repeating raps from Gully Boy, which was pretty amazing because he never liked rap music.
See, that's the biggest achievement, I think, and well, him pulling you
If
into
I can get
music,
my dad to rap, then
your
the
music.
film has
Yes.
done its job.
That's correct. Okay, that's really exciting. I'm having a great time. Karsh, we were talking about your work. We're talking about how you started your career, Gully Boy, all of that. Now it's time to find out something about you, something that most people don't know, can't reach. And I think I have the possibility of finding a little, a little more about you. I have a bunch
Mhm.
of questions. Are you ready?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
I can see just like what's coming next, but okay. Um, Tell me one such celebrity, and this is a show where we're opinionated, where we talk our mind, and I'd like you to well do that if you
Mhm.
want. Any celebrity or artist that you would never work with again?
Never work with again. Oh. Hmm. Well, no, I mean, I can't really think of anybody who I had some sort of beef with where I would, never do anything with them again. I can't really say that there's anybody in that category. Only the ones that have passed away.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. A celebrity crush?
Celebrity crush. Oh, wow. Uh, don't really have a celebrity crush, but I've always been a huge fan of Sade as a as an artist and as a woman, and she's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful artist. She's just the whole package. I think Sade is definitely somebody who,
Okay,
if I had to choose someone, I'd choose
there
Sade.
we go. Okay. Kash Kale, if you had to go back in time and give yourself, younger self, an advice, what would it be?
Maybe not to be so impulsive in the decisions that I was making. I think that when I was younger, I was very quick to jump, uh, leap without really looking to see if there was anything there to catch me, which I think is a good trait to have when you're younger.
It
But
is.
yeah, but I think I would go back and maybe tell myself to maybe take a look around for a second
Take
before
some time to
making
decide.
a jump. Yeah.
Okay. If there's one thing you could go back in time and change, would it be the same thing or would it be something else? One thing that you could go
Um,
back.
I don't think that when I look back, I don't think I can really say that I would change anything because it's been such an incredible like obstacle course of events and things that I could have never predicted. I mean, my career never followed some path that I had kind of laid out. I kind of improvised my way through my career and kind of went with my instincts as soon as I was done with something like a film, I'd do something completely different. And
Right.
that's what I've always done. So when I look back, I can't really say that I would change that because everything I've done has brought me exactly to where I am now.
And somewhere from what you say and what I've read about you, heard about you, the fact that you are open to taking risks, you are adventurous to sorts of well in terms of your career as well. I think that's something that not a lot of people are able to experience, and that I think is brilliant. By the way, okay, I have another question for you. If Karsh Kale had to be described by one word, you could choose any language that you want to answer in. What would that one word be?
One word. Oh. Um,
It all comes down to that, doesn't it?
Focused.
Okay, focused. What's your recent favorite Bollywood number that you're humming or singing to?
Recent Bollywood number. I can't say that there are any. I haven't seen many Bollywood films, to be honest with you, in the last year. It's been kind of lockdown Netflix and, catching up on old stuff. So I haven't seen any new stuff, but I've been enjoying a lot of the new Salim Suleiman releases, which are not films, but they're things that they're putting out on their own label. And I just recently saw the Vishvesh Krishnamurthy directed 99 Songs, Rahman's film. Um,
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of the most of what I've seen. I don't think there has been that much stuff that's come out as well.
So happy to have you. I'm having a lot of fun. Are you?
Yes, absolutely.
If you say that with a grim face, how am I supposed to believe that? Okay. Talking about grim, how's the pandemic treating you?
How has the say that again? Sorry.
How has the pandemic been treating you? We were talking
How's
about
it
it
been
earlier
treating
on.
me? Well, I've been staying safe, and this last month we've been in lockdown, so haven't really gone pretty much anywhere. Been home. Luckily, have not gotten it, and I've gotten my first jab. So it's, yeah, just kind of trying to stay safe. It's really sad what's happening right now, and it's very scary. It's really kind of just reached everyone's front door now, and the fatigue of the last year of all of the changes and the restrictions, and so it's been tough. It's been for me it's been challenging at certain times, and I've been obviously coming back to music, and these are the things that keep us sane and keep us going.
And you have come up with something interesting in terms of music that we will talk about. But I also want to ask you, when I talk about Bollywood, because we're a Bollywood station, right? We play Hindi music, Bollywood music. So I know a lot of these artists who went all out, the Sanjeev Kapoor style. Everybody became Sanjeev Kapoor at home. They were like making these amazing things. Did Karsh Kale learn to cook anything? Do you cook, or did you learn to make something new?
I don't think I learned how to cook anything more, but I did cook. I did, they were, definitely, it was called upon everyone to have to, hunker down and yeah, you have to cook your own meals, and you have to, take care of your own place. Sometimes staff is not coming, sometimes, and most of the time these, the places are closed, restaurants are shutting. So it is an important skill for everyone to learn to cook some food for yourself.
Karsh, when anybody Googles you or they're trying to find who you are, there are a bunch of artists that you've worked with. Whether it's YouTube, you have Stings, is that right? Then you have Nora Jones, you have Zakir Hussain Saab. You have a bunch of people that you work with. When you work with people who are experienced in their own field, it's a collaboration, but it's a collaboration of two artists together. How easy or difficult was that for you, and how much have you enjoyed and taken back from these experiences?
Well, of the people that you just listed, these were all heroes of mine. So working with people like Zakir Hussain or Sting or U2 or an Alicia Keys, or these are artists that I looked up to. So I always take them as a learning experience. I bring whatever I bring to the table, but I hopefully take away more than I've brought. For me, that I grow as an artist when I get to work with people like that, like Bill Laswell, or any of the elder artists, like people like Sultan Khan or Ravi Shankar. These are people who I grew up listening to, and never imagined for a second that I would be working with them one day. So being in the studio with someone like Sting was, I was taking that like I was in school, But then there's artists that I feel are my contemporaries, that are, of the same generation. So that kind of interaction, in the same way, we still learn from each other. More than anything, as musicians, we always want to continue to be students and keep on growing, and as soon as people start calling you things like master or pioneer and things like that, if you believe that, you've kind of ended your journey. So I try and keep open, and I'm always open for the next collaboration to see what I'm going to learn next.
Karsh, I'm going to take the cheek to ask you this question. How does it feel to be in a ladies' bathroom? We're trying to make it quirky here. Quirky.
Well, you've made it feel very comfortable, so.
Wonderful, and I love the cushion, the colors behind. It's really nice. Karsh, I don't know why I said that. Anyway, Karsh, Back to your album, you've been giving us some phenomenal music to check out. You have, of course, your contributions in Bollywood, but you as an artist, as a composer, you have your own album. Tell us a little bit about that. We are really excited to hear.
So I'm very excited about the album that just got released called Touch. It's actually the first part of a two-part album. Touch 2 will come out in about a month or so. And it's an album that I created solely through lockdown. Started
That's
in
correct.
Brooklyn. In the first 6 months in Brooklyn that I spent, I started working on some tracks, and then the next 6 months I spent in Goa. I worked on the rest of the record. And the concept, Touch, is really mainly about the fact that we were so separated. We weren't able to visit family. We weren't able to visit friends. Even neighbors were not allowed to come. We were missing loved ones. So many friends were missing lovers and partners and wives and husbands and children, and all of that feeling of longing and waiting and that unsure kind of desperation. A lot of that went into the music. And I also didn't really have the opportunity to work with many collaborators, which I usually do on my albums. I have many collaborators, sometimes 3-4 collaborators on each track, whereas this album is mainly myself spending time making music alone. So it's definitely, if anything, it's a diary of my experience in the lockdown.
And clearly how you felt. I think you're right. This pandemic has been difficult for a lot of us. As an artist, personally, I'm going to end this session with this question, of course, as much as I hate it. But as an artist, do you think tons of artists across the world, whether it's singers, dancers, composers, DJs, you've also been a part of that world. It's affected so many people. Do you have a message for all these guys?
Well, I mean, I need the messages as much as they do.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it has devastated our world. It has really devastated our world. And I think that it's not just musicians. I think anybody who does anything. I mean, a farmer who all of a sudden does not have his field to plow is going to start to lose their mind, and I think that keeping our wits about us and trying to stay sane and trying to keep hope that things are not only going to get better, but they're going to change for the better, is what we all need to hold on to, because right now things are very scary for any performer, any musician, any artist, producer. If you're not doing what you usually do, it's like not breathing, and we need to stay hopeful. And that's the only message I can say, is that we all need to collectively remind each other that things will slowly change.
It will change. Stay strong, and of course, stay at home for now. Most importantly, this is a message out to all the listeners, all the viewers. We always keep talking about SMS. No, it's not what you're thinking. It stands for sanitizing your hands, wearing your masks, split up like the experts say, and maintaining social distancing. We need to do this together. And I'm so glad, Karsh, that you could join us today. Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. And I can't wait to see you live. I really can't.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right. For the rest of you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And we'll bring you so many more, of course, the other weeks. It was a pleasure having you, Karsh Kale. You can like, share, subscribe. Superhits 93.5 Red FM पे 3, 2, 1. बजाते रहो.
Bajate raho.
Red FM 93.5